everybody, and welcome to the Land Rover LR3 Shootout Series, where we're comparing the Land Rover air suspension to an aftermarket coil conversion. Today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at overlanding. Now this is where the LR3 shines. Its spacious cabin and comfy ride characteristics make long duration journeys a joy instead of a cringe, especially if you're bringing family or friends along for the ride who are interested in traveling into the unknown, but not necessarily used to all the bumps and bounces that come along with off-roading, as many of us know. So sit back and relax as we take these two Land Rover LR3s overlanding. All right, here we go. Air versus coil. This part of the comparison, we're gonna be doing general overlanding, and we're gonna be hopping back and forth in each vehicle, so we're hitting the same trail. Getting to experience the ride quality and the performance on each rig. Now we're just in normal ride height on this one. We have the advantage of being able to raise or lower if we need to. Handling's firm, no wandering. You know, we've gone over this. The maintenance is great on all these as far as steering components and bushings.
Feeling a bit of harshness right now, basically from the trail. When we stop and we check tire pressure to see what we're at, because that's what it's feeling like. It's feeling like we're way high on pressures at the moment for off-road.
I wonder if he's suffering back there in those coils.
Take a little too much pleasure in his discomfort, I think.
You know what though, it's funny because normally in these type of videos people are always like egging each other on and wanting their vehicle to win, but these are both our vehicles and we love them. They're both awesome. They're both really, really great. We just want to be able to share this experience with everybody else about what we see on a daily basis with them. So we're in 4 high right now in just normal mode. We're not in any of the different terrain response systems yet. Big sandy portion. Really smooth during the sand section here. This trail up here, it's going to be really nice. There's going to be some good obstacles coming up ahead. I remember it now.
Okay, we're just turned onto the Klondike Bluff Trail, which will take us up a little wash and then across the area commonly known as the dinosaur stomping grounds.
Going over that obstacle, the sensors realized it's in an off-camber situation and it put it into extended mode. So I kept it in normal mode to try to keep the ride height as near as possible to what the coil is sitting at with their claimed 2-inch lift, but it chose to put it up into extended for me.
First thing we noticed is not near the articulation that the air one had on that obstacle. Did you notice how that one reached for the ground much better than this one did? We'll set it up here later and actually do some real articulation so you can get good photos of it.
Is there any way to set these vehicles up with better articulation? You know, some sort of better travel or...
Well, you have your limitations with your springs. They're going to have the same pressure on all 4 corners, whereas the air will actually help you a little bit with a little bit of cushion. There's really not much adjustment we can do on this car, other than some sort of a sway bar disconnect would probably help us. But with the springs are going to just kind of limit it a little bit. I mean, it's a very nice system, but the amount of travel that they allow is just limited.
The trail's getting a little rougher. I'm going to take advantage of the terrain response system. Going to mud and ruts.
Do you feel any different than the other one?
It's a little rougher already, just noticing that.
I think this might be a good comparison where the height ability of the air suspension. I'm going to first try it over here and see what happens. hearing any scraping. Yeah, good. All right, so we're gonna see if the coil spring can take it in the same line and see how it does. Okay. Centered right there?
Yeah, high center.
All right. Wow. First real obstacle of the day. I don't know. All right. Well, that was a comparison. We wanted one, we got it. Yeah, that's sitting on the frame right now. Evident right there just from the ability of the air suspension to raise itself up into that extended mode for clearing obstacles such as this. Wow. Completely up in the air. Throw the traction boards under it? That does anything?
We can try. We may end up tugging it.
So what we're going to do is use the traction board, see if it will help us out to be able to get it underneath a little bit.
Am I on the board?
Yeah, all right. Recovery equipment to the rescue. Great.
That is where these are fantastic for little clearances like that, because they have the extra height and the really bite. Really work well for this.
Yeah, that worked perfect. You know, I was almost about to joke of, hey, we'll use a rock instead of these fancy boards, but when it was up in the air like that, to get the board underneath enough gave it perfect amount. It was really nice. All right, onward and upward. So, right now, air suspension 1, coil spring 0 on that one. Off-road system, the Land Rover has this traction control system that's really cool, all right? But the way it works is the wheels, the computers sense what wheel is slipping and what wheel's not, and it essentially creates a pseudo locker for it. Now this vehicle does have it's called a center locking diff. So as you go up and you start to feel the wheels spinning a little bit, the normal reaction for most people would go, and they mash the gas harder.
I barely feel like I'm even pushing it.
It's just going to create more wheel spin. It's not going to help you out. What you actually have to do is ease off the throttle, ease off the gas a little bit, and the computer is going to figure it out. It's going to use that center locking diff and the traction control, and it'll help get you up over the obstacle. Okay, little ledge section here. No problem. Very, very rocky terrain. It's handling it well. Now there's, as smooth as I can. Not getting excessively bounced around. Rugged. Response system kicked in there briefly. Well, this is a really big undulation here. Handling it great. How am I doing on the right on the rocks?
You good? You got plenty?
Switch back into high range. Let's see how he's doing back there. Oh, I see some spinning. And, oh, he's got it, of course. It's an LR3, he's got it. It's a cool trail, huh?
This is a great one. I remember this from the left.
It's really fun, and it's great because it's right off our campsite, which is in a beautiful area. All right, we are on the famous Moab Slickrock. So for all you watching, Military Mobility provides off-road expeditions and resiliency training for veterans. We put them back in a team environment, help them navigate and overcome challenges. It's been very fulfilling in my post-military career. I've only been retired for about 8 months now. To be able to run this program, Military Mobility has been around since 2017. I feel very fortunate to be able to spend time with the veterans that come through our program. And we learn as much from them as hopefully they're learning from us. It's a very collaborative environment. They come into the course and they're given different roles and responsibilities. Primarily we have team leader, navigation, supply, and logistics as roles. And we use that to give some structure to the curriculum that we're doing and to be able to, one, hold people accountable, and two, make observations and recommendations for their performance and ways to help translate their skill sets that they had in the military into their post-military careers and personal life. Our goal is to allow people to be the best versions of themselves. And in running this program, I'm learning things all the time, and it's making me a better version of myself. It's a beautiful looking vehicle. I really think it is. You know, we might have to have people chime in the comments and just say, what color do you like the best? Do you like the gray one or the black one? Personally, I like the gray.
That is the most important part.
You know, it's got to look cool. And the black one looks cool also.
Fashion over function, baby.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of a nice section of the Slickrock. Got a good amount where it's just mini articulations. Let's take this line right here. No big deal. You know, just the biggest thing I'm really seeing is the clearance factor, right? You just get so much more clearance out of this. Now, Old Man Emu paired with Atlantic British, I'm not seeing too many more options for springs that you can put on this. So I'm wondering if there's some Land Rover guys out there who've done some research and figured out, is there a different strut spring combo that we can put on there? We had one gentleman in the comment section, he's doing a year-long trip around the world. He's doing a coil conversion. He's aware that the coils don't raise it as high as you'd really like. He was researching some Toyota struts that he could put on there to raise it up a bit. And I'd be really interested in that. So if anybody has some info about bigger springs, bigger struts we can put on just to get, you know, not a lot, another inch, 2 inches of clearance, I think would really improve the coil springs a lot.
And especially if it fails and you're anywhere in the world has Toyota.
Right, right. Yeah, that'd be really, it's a great point. So that would be cool. We've looked at, there's a couple people making aluminum spacers that you can put on there. I'm just not so sure. I'd really like to have the increased travel, but then we also have to look at how is that affecting the CV shafts.
And now we're going to take a look at the LR3's wheel articulation and discuss it in a bit more detail.
So we have it stuffed pretty good. You said it's not...
It's currently not touching anything.
Right, so that's nice.
Which is what you want.
Yeah. And where was there was evidence that it had before, right?
There's evidence, and let's see if we can see it from the other side.
Okay.
Right here. You see this? This is where the tire has been stuffed up there and touching.
Okay.
And it's rubbing through the plastic.
Yeah. Oh, you know, on that specific feature right here, I've researched this. This side hangs down lower, if you guys can see on the camera, this inch-long plastic piece. It's actually a heater hose for the internal, for the insides.
For the rear heat system.
Yeah, rear heat system. So what you can do is, you know, you take the fender well off and you just buy an extension of hose, and it's not too long. You essentially route it further to the left and out of the way, and then you can flatten this plastic just by, you know, I think heat gun and pushing it in, and that'll give you the clearance you need. I have actually heard this. It's been at high speeds, not low speed stuff. It's been when I've been out the highway at 70 miles an hour, and you hit something, and you just, and I always hear it in the rear right. And I took a look, and that's what it was. I researched that.
Okay.
So we need to do that mod as well.
There's some really good dinosaur tracks right there too.
Okay, so I just wanted to highlight some dinosaur tracks that are out here. Really cool stuff. And you can see them. You can see it walking right along here. This is really great. You can make out tracks right there. Super cool. Look at this one. So as always, when you're off-roading, look out for this. Webb noticed that we've seen some tracks of people riding over this, most likely because they want to avoid this big depression right here with their vehicles. So that's at a cost, you know, so stay on the trails. Try this one out. Sorry, gentlemen.
Turn towards me a little bit. That'll give you a little bit of a downhill on the other side. There you go.
Is that good?
That's good. Hey, look how much further this one stuffs up in there.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, massive difference.
You even got the inner fender distorted and stuffed up in there so hard.
Right.
So, something to think about.
Okay. So we're getting more articulation out of it, but at a cost.
At a cost because the sides are tight.
Right. Okay. Webb, do you know, because I've done some research, so with a background in all vehicles, and we build a lot of Jeeps as well, the Jeep community, and especially aftermarket parts, are very particular on letting you know travel length of shocks, and that's how we're calculating these builds very, very specifically. I could not find out a lot of information about the aftermarket, the Atlantic British. But do you happen to know what the travel is on the shocks or with these? I mean, we can tell that the air suspension has more travel than the heavy-duty Atlantic British heavy-duty kit. By how much, I can't tell you right now. We don't have the specs on that, but we'll continue to look, and if someone knows, please let us know down in the comments. And then we could see we have the same issue here. This one's rubbing real thin. So we have to do that mod as well. All right, so we're at our halfway point here, the trail. This is an out and back trail. What Webb and I are gonna do is switch. I'm now gonna take the Coil sprung LR3. He's gonna hop in the air. We're gonna take it back and just note our experiences going through the same exact obstacles. We'll have a discussion about it during and then after we come to the trailhead. All right, let's do it. We're sponsored by Kill Cliff. They are a huge supporter of ours. Thank you, Kill Cliff. It's a great drink. They have ingredients that don't suck. Get some. Discount code Military Mobility. On this portion of the Slickrock that we're on right now, I am not noticing a really big difference between the air suspension and the Coil. The Coil feels very smooth, very controlled. We're not going at high speeds here, but you know, the jarring or bounce from the obstacles that we're going over, it's not significant. I really can't tell you a noticeable difference between the air suspension and the coils on this. And then there's that added confidence that if something happens, it won't be to this vehicle, with the suspension at least. But the biggest drawback really is, I just keep on coming back to it, it's the height. It's that height variance. I just wish this truck sat about an inch or two higher. So we're gonna look into that. Please let us know your opinion, your comments about what might be the best way to do that. Personally, I think it's gonna be from finding just bigger springs and struts to allow us to have some more wheel travel rather than putting spacers in there, but I'm not against doing that if that's what it comes to. All right, handled that nicely. No clearance issues on that. So I'd say for moderate overlanding terrain, not a big difference with the lower height.
So far over the last couple of obstacles, is it a big difference that you've noticed between the...
Oh, definitely. The air ride is smooth. I mean, if you're going to go off-road just from this little bit we've done this morning, the air ride is far superior. But, again, it's fantastic until it's not.
Because that's always the worry, you know, the weekend warrior is worried about breaking their air suspension and getting stranded, but how often does it actually happen?
On ours, we ran it almost 8 months. Probably 2 severe off-road programs a month. We probably got 16 trips before we had any trouble with the air suspension. And that was 16 700-mile trips. So it was pretty rough going, hard driving on it. Feel the difference by keeping the power on and feathering it with the brake.
slip at all, just climb right up.
Let's see how she does going up. How we looking?
You're looking good so far. I like your line.
All right. And we hit. Oh no. We high centered again?
Yeah, looks like it.
So, all right. Yeah, I almost thought we were gonna get it on this one. Yeah.
Now, as fun as this obstacle is to watch, we discussed it and we're not going to hold it against the Coil LR3, as this obstacle falls more into the rock portion of our comparison than overlanding.
All right, so she couldn't take the same line, you know, and we were taking the most difficult portion of this just to check it out and check out the breakover angle and see where it was at. This again was the section where we got high centered coming down. So for me, coming through, since we're almost near the end of this trail, but coming through on the main sections, little bounces and jumps, I really can't notice a difference between the coil and the air. It's really just a clearance issue. I had bumped the bottom a couple times, you know, I'm putting my tire on the highest obstacle around, and I think a couple times I just went over an obstacle and it just hit the frame right there. So I think I was accustomed to the height of the air suspension and wasn't given enough credence for the new height level I'm at. But other than that, the ride quality seemed really nice.
Yeah, it's just a little bit rougher on the springs, but not enough that most people will pay attention to.
Yeah.
After this trail experience of riding each vehicle side by side and noting the drive characteristics and capability, for general overlanding, it really was too close to call whether one was superior to the other, as the reality is both suspensions did a wonderful job and were a joy to drive.
All right, comparison number one is in the books. Overland, it came down to a draw, so we're both our winners on this one. All right, looking forward to number three, cargo, coming up next week. We'll see you out there. If you like what we're doing, please support our veteran programs by donating at militarymobility.com. We are a 501c3 nonprofit and have no paid salaries. 100% of our funding goes towards running courses for veterans in need. Another easy way to support our veteran programs is by subscribing. You can also choose us as your Amazon Smile beneficiary. This is at no cost to you, as Amazon pledges to donate a portion of their profits from your purchase.